That's 888-TAX-EXIT. 888-TAX-EXIT. And make it your last stop.
Former Congressman J.D. Hayworth on Hot Talk 560 KSFO.
He calls Lodi home, and you may be calling him Congressman if he can prevail in the upcoming 2012 election against Democrat incumbent Jerry McNerney in the 9th Congressional District. He's Ricky Gill, who's still on the newsmaker line. And, Ricky, again, we thank you for your time. Now, back when I was in Congress, the NRCC, the National Republican Congressional Campaign Committee, would take a look at races. And as I understand it, they're taking a look at your race, and they're saying you're one of the top 10 opportunities in 2012. That's got to make you feel good.
Well, it's fulfilling. It confirms, I think, that there's a strength on the ground and a fundraising prowess to accompany that. And it's important for the National Party to feel like there's something at stake here. With redistricting in California, we will lose some seats. Some incumbents are going to be potentially squeezed out, maybe not. But there are pickup opportunities, and this district falls in that latter category. I think they look at this campaign, JD, and they say, here's someone who rebuts some of the stereotypes about the party. And it's not just youth. I'm a first-generation American, JD. I think we can grow the party. And they look at my youth, and they don't see a disadvantage. They see an opportunity to really build and scale out. I often tell people I'm a young guy, and I can't control how old I am. That's a fixed number. If there is a number I'm concerned with, it's the unemployment rate. But what I can control, JD, is what I've done in those years. I'm proud to tell your audience, I served on the State Board of Education. Governor Schwarzenegger appointed me, and that was my first real stint in public life. And that's where I really developed a deep interest in serving this community and getting involved, and that was 7 years ago.
And you have been hard at work since, and obviously hard at work raising campaign funds. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush in for you today with a big event in the city. And earlier, South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley back in November came out to California to fundraise for you. Now, it's interesting. You mentioned broadening the base of the party and, yes, for lack of a better term, ethnicity. Those of South Asian descent, Nikki Haley, an Indian American, as you are, and I guess as well with Bobby Jindal. Do you think there's a chance we could see Governor Jindal coming to the Bay Area anytime soon?
Well, I don't know, and I don't want to speak in advance of any such thing. But obviously, you see what he did in recent elections. He gave his opposition a drubbing, as they call it, and I do admire the work he's doing on education. I mean, look at the charter school movement, which has proliferated in New Orleans. That's one thing I'm really passionate about, JD, is that in my congressional district, in that district today, there's not that level of not that profusion, if you will, of charter school philanthropy or activity. I'm a big believer in student-centered education reform, and what we need to do as Republicans is give a counter narrative. It's about making students the focus of education reform, making patients the center of health reform, making taxpayers the center of budget reform. We want to be the champions of those folks. And if we do that, suddenly we're talking about equity, right? We're talking about fairness. And that's the narrative we need to build. And I think that's the potential of this race, is to start that discussion in a state where we tend to lose statewide elections. And it's because we haven't built that kind of dialogue.
Ricky Gill, congressional candidate. Before I let you go, where can our listeners find out more? Do you have a campaign website?
Absolutely. RickyGill.com, RickyGill.com. And, JD, if you can't vote for me, what you can do is make an online financial donation, get involved. I'm running against the whole Democratic establishment. They're pinpointing me. Sure, I've got support, but I've got my detractors too, and many of them don't even live in that district. But what you can do is make a financial donation, get involved, and say to the establishment, we want something more honest, more transparent, and that's what they can do. And I'd be thrilled for any support we could get.
Well, Rick, we certainly appreciate your time this morning. Congrats on the big event with Jeb Bush, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
I know this radio experience is a baptism by fire. I'm sure you're going to do well, JD. Thank you.
Thanks a bunch. That's congressional candidate Ricky Gill in California's 9th District. Yeah, my old pal Richard Pombo went out with me in that fateful year of 2006. So it'd be interesting to see Republicans pick it up, especially against an incumbent the likes of Jerry McNerney. More politics coming up. We're live and local all morning. It's recovering Congressman J.D. Hayworth, Hot Talk 560.